Keep it locked to KBLA Talk 1580.
So pleased to announce that the 43rd mayor of the city of Los Angeles is on the phone. Mayor Karen Bass, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Dominique?
Good. You must be incredibly swamped right now, and I appreciate you checking in. It's indefinitely what we're hearing, that the 10 freeway to be down?
Yes, that is the case. All of those travel apps, pay attention to those. As we get information, they've been uploaded right away. So those maps should be accurate. But we actually are trying to tell people to stay on freeways, to follow the route, because our streets can't handle 300,000.
Yeah.
Our streets would be parking lots. There is metro, there is public transportation. So they're increasing the frequency of trains and increasing the frequency of buses. So you can go to 511 and learn about metro. You can go to emergency.lacity.gov to learn about any information on the city. This is a time for all of us to stay together. We're trying every avenue possible. That's why it's so important that you reached out, Dominique. Always want to make sure that the KBLA audience is up to speed.
Mayor Karen Bass, thank you so much. Godspeed.
All right, thank you.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Stumped? Oh, by this.
What do I do when the one I love has ran out of love and has given up? What do I say when I can see your face? What do I give when I've given all? And make this work when it's not my fault. Where did we go wrong? Can we work it out? I feel by myself. What did I do? I'll compromise when it comes to you. Love has walked out and I left you stranded and empty-handed. Your love has walked out. It killed your vision. Now I got you wishing. Your love has walked out and I left you stranded and empty-handed. Your love has walked out. It killed your vision. Now we got you wishing. So you just walk out and leave me here alone, right on alone, wishing you were home.
Welcome in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Happy Monday. I hope your weekend was excellent. I hope that you are ready for an amazing show as always. We have a lot to get into tonight. You know, that is what usually comes from the weekend. You know, Andy and I have this thing that we do where he attempts to stump me with music because I believe my music knowledge is extensive. I have a pretty good library. You know, I do pretty well. But tonight, I'm actually going to I don't know the song, but I'm going to take a guess on the artist, who I believe it sounds like James Wright Chanel.
There you go.
See, I recognize that voice, that tone. All I could hear him is saying, Patty!
That's only because you know me. That's why. I'm going to play a song related to the topic. So, you know.
Of course you are. But, no, really, like, his tone, that's what set it off. Because, literally, the way that I said Patty, you hear that in his upper register. So that's what I picked up. Shout out to him. We're going to get into what that means shortly. This is the show, of course, where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I am your host, Jill Munroe. And tonight, like I said, we have a full show to get into. Now, you heard the voice of James Wright Chanel. He is a background singer for Tamar Braxton. He also, a few years back, went viral because he went and sampled Patti LaBelle's Sweet Potato Pie. And if you recall that, here's the thing. I knew at that moment he was not lying. He was the truth because back in the day, I bought Patti's first cookbook. And I think it's called Patti LaBelle's, I can't remember what it is, but fabulous fixings in there. She had her macaroni and cheese recipe, her greens recipe, sweet potatoes, yams. Like, that is really the cookbook that like elevated my cooking game, so I feel. That sweet potato pie is amazing. I've never tasted the one in the stores, but I made it. And fire. Like, just ridiculous. I used Patti LaBelle's recipes to make my first Thanksgiving dinner back in the day. And if I do say so myself, and what everyone said, it was amazing. So shout out to that. Also, I can say that I've tasted Patti LaBelle's greens back in the day when she was the host of the Soul Train Awards, and she cooked backstage all the time, so I got to sample them. Listen, that woman can cook. That is amazing. Anyway, we're going to get into James and what happened to him this weekend. It was Tamar's concert for an anniversary tour for her Love and War album, and she performed in Los Angeles. James is one of her backup singers and popular internet personality, and I suppose rapper. I think she's a rapper, or she at least plays one on the internet. And reality show star Chrisean Rock allegedly assaulted him. So we're going to get into those details, and I want to get into, Tamar has said that she was basically trying to mentor Chrisean. We're going to get into all the details, but are there some people that, you just can't save? You can't want to be a bleeding heart for? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown went at Little Kim. She also went at a couple of people in the comments regarding Kim. And it begs the question, is Foxy overlooked? And if she is it her own fault? We're going to talk about that, get into Fox Boogie. We're also going to talk about a conversation that Kandi Burruss and her husband Todd had on the internet, for the internet. It's about married couples, married men specifically, when they decide to go out, like when they go out at night. Is there a curfew? Is there a time that a married man needs to be home by if he goes out to the club? We're going to get into that. We're going to get into a young man who is upset with rapper YG for a photo he posted on Instagram and is pleading with him to take it down. We're going to get into all of those details. We're also going to get into the interesting living arrangement that Jeannie Buss and her husband, actor and comedian Jay Moore, have. Is it something that you would consider? I think I would. We're going to talk about that plus more when we come forward. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing us into fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with me, Angelique Francis, at the beautiful Miracle Theater at 226 South Market Street in Inglewood on Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me with KBLA for short stories told live on stage with us, by us. Yes, our own storytellers straight from the neighborhood. Colorful and provocative live storytelling event celebrating our unique culture, our strength, our courage, our faith, and yes, our fire. We invite you to walk with us through the neighborhood, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. Just around the corner, there is laughter, unspeakable pain, secrets never told. But don't worry. The door is unlocked and we're going to leave the porch light on. That's Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 Market Street in Inglewood, 6 p.m. Yes, it is all happening right here in the Sweet Spot. Tickets available, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. We got a lot to talk about.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? 'Cause everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So as I said, it's Monday, so that means that we have a lot to get into. We call them conversation starters. These are a couple of topics that I can't get fully into, but I feel like you need to be aware about what is going on. So first up, listen, were you a fan of Chuck E. Cheese back in the day? Did you go? Did you take your children? Well, if you were, sadly, Chuck E. Cheese has announced that Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater has announced that it will be removing its iconic animatronic band from all of the locations in Los Angeles except for one. That one will be the Northridge location, and it will be permanently there. So although, for decades, that band with Chucky and Henrietta, I can't remember what the other characters' names are. We just know Chucky, would delight or scare kids from all over. They feel that it's, kind of run its course and done its thing, and it's time to make room for new high-tech features at restaurants across the nation. So some of the new enhancements are going to include a state-of-the-art dance floor, a giant video wall, and the most popular kid-focused arcade games, and a trampoline zone. So, it's a brand new day, brand new look for Chuck E. Cheese. They plan to have things that will invoke nostalgia for the longtime fans, but it's a new day, and it is a new outlook for Chuck E. Cheese's, apparently. So, in other news, listen, it's that time of year where we start hearing about college commitments from high school students, prospects. Well, Shaquille O'Neal's daughter, she is graduating, his youngest daughter, and she has announced that she will be hooping for FSU come the fall. So congratulations to her. Obviously, they are a sports family continuing that legacy, opting not like her sister and brother. Shakir went someplace else, but Sharif and Mira went at least for a period of time to LSU. So we'll see what happens this year in her senior year and then next year when she joins them. So congratulations to her. Speaking of a couple of sports stories, now we know that the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders aren't heading up the headlines as of late because they've been on a little downward spiral after a hot start at the top of the season. We know they've already beaten last season's record, so we have to give them some support. But, recently at a game here in Los Angeles, well, Pasadena actually, at the Rose Bowl against UCLA, several of the players jewelry was stolen from the locker room. Well, listen, approximately 2 weeks after that all happened, Pasadena police have confirmed that the items were actually stolen by high school recruits. They were on an official visit to UCLA. The name of the school nor the recruits have not been revealed yet. And somehow they got into the locker room and got away with the Colorado players' jewels. So the crazy thing about that is, how are they wandering around unsupervised? Is there no security at the Rose Bowl for the visitors' locker room? Still seems strange, but they were caught. All the jewelry has been returned to the players, and, all is well. We know previously Deion asked that the NCAA should investigate the crime, and, he also suggested that the Rose Bowl needed to reimburse 3 of the players who had items stolen. But now that the suspects were identified, the stolen items have been returned. I guess one of the guys said he had just got his chain the day before, so the likelihood that he had insurance on it is probably very low. But I hope at the very least, if they haven't learned, that maybe taking their best jewels on a road trip with them, although I get it. What do you have it for if not for the stunt and the floss? I mean, I don't know if Shador is still out there flashing the wristwatch, slow down, with all the jewels, but I'm sure the other players wanted to join in too. But what I want to say about those recruits, you just threw away your whole potential college football career to steal some jewelry that really, what were you going to do with it? You couldn't floss on social media with it. Somebody was going to identify it, and you were going to get caught anyway. Were you going to try and pawn it? Probably really hard to pawn those pieces. And realistically, you weren't going to get value for it. You probably didn't even know how much value it was. I suppose you just could have walked around with it. But now, what college is going to want you when you went into the locker room and stole? They aren't even your opponent. You aren't even on the team. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, listen, what are we going through? What are you doing? You are on a recruiting visit to a school potentially of your dreams, and you are worried about the players that are already secure in their spot taking their jewels. It's a shame. Hopefully the guys learned their lesson. No word on what charges they've been hit with or what will be the next move as far as that case, but we'll see what happens. All right, hip-hop fans, coming off of Drake's tour with 21 Savage this summer, he's ready to hit the road again in January. Boy, Drake is working, right? I mean, 2 stadium tours back-to-back within a short time span. You think we're going to get the same show? At any rate, he's announced he is going on tour with J. Cole. And this time, it's all a Blur tour, big as the what. So it's going to kick off in January. This time, like I said, he's bringing J. Cole. It will include 22 shows, some featuring back-to-back nights in some cities. Some of those shows are rescheduled from the first run. And tickets go on sale this Friday. Andy?
What happened to the break, and why is J. Cole not performing at all the shows?
That's a great question. That is a really good question.
And why are they not hitting up Los Angeles?
I mean, here's the thing. They did do both, I feel like, Staples Center and the Kia Forum while they were here. I think he did, I wish they were coming back because I didn't get a chance to check it out. But they did both venues. So I think that is probably why they had a nice little run here in LA. it is interesting because what did happen to the break, Drake? What's going on? Like, usually your first thought is, oh, it's a financial thing. You know, you needing to puff up the reserves. I don't know if that's the case with Drake. Drake has a lot of side ventures and things that do not involve music. So I don't know if that's necessary. I can't really, give an accurate thought about that. But listen, it's a possibility, but I do wonder what happened to the break. Is it nerves? I mean, I'm trying to think who has come out recently, or did something happen that would, maybe he feels like he's missing out on the Beyonce and Taylor Swift hype with ticket sales. I'm not sure.
The only thing I could think about is this might be the first time that Drake and J. Cole ever collaborated, at least on a tour, or for the fact that, what was that, first person shooter?
Yeah.
They're probably, touring based off of the success off of that of that single.
That makes sense. Capitalizing off of that. I think it'll be a good show. I have to see if they have maybe they have some dates in Vegas.
Yeah, that'll probably be the close one to go to.
Something like that. Because I would like to. I've never seen Drake in concert, ever.
The only time I seen Drake perform was, you could pretty much say it was the beginning of his career back in 2009. He came to my college, and I will never forget, that boy ripped the stage.
I bet he did.
Killed it.
And he didn't have a whole bunch of hits out there. I mean, he did, but I mean,
right,
extensive catalog like now.
It was fire for sure.
I did, however, back in the day, there used to be this club in LA, like one of the first regular day parties that used to happen, called Toxic back in the day. It was in Hollywood. And when 2 dropped, I remember he came and dropped his remix at Toxic and DJ that night. And, so that's as close to a performance as I've seen with Drake. But, it was a litty day. But that's it. So, if you guys have opinions on Drake performing, let me know. And that's a good thing. I haven't mentioned this. So this is a good time to mention, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on social media, KBLA 1580. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill. Also, if anytime tonight you want to weigh in on the topics that we are covering, hit us up, 800-920-1580. We love that. And of course, if you're on the go, active, got a life, not going to be locked into the car or on YouTube where you can get the visual to this audio experience, download the app, take us with you on the go. Problem solved. So in other news, over the weekend, there was a UFC match, and your guy Donald Trump showed up. He showed up with, I think it was Kid Rock, Tucker Carlson, and Dana White at Madison Square Garden. So, yeah, we don't really care about that, but I do have something funny to say. I just think that it's so interesting what is still happening with Trump. Where are we? But Bill Burr, not sure if you know him. He's a comedian, a white comedian who is married to a black woman. She's a producer. Her name is Nia Hill. And there are photographs floating around of Donald Trump walking past them because they were sitting pretty close up during the match. And she's given the double bird salute. So shout out to Nia Hill because she's a real one in that piece. For that, some conservative, I'm blanking on her name, really lit into Nia. That's a conversation for another day because, lady, come on now. Give it up, delicious. Anyway, more trending topics, more stories. We have to get into, of course, this story about James Wright Chanel. We heard his song, the opening of the show. He's a backup singer for Tamar Braxton, as I told you. This weekend, Friday, November 10th, Love and War, the anniversary show, was here in Los Angeles. And so, according to a member of Tamar's team, his name is LaTroy Davis. He actually is one of the promoters who put together the tour. He came online discussing that Chrisean Rock, we know her from Blueface, We know that we have seen her wilding out across social media. And if you are a fan of Zeus's reality TV shows, you have seen her wilding out on a couple of shows on there, right? She's from Baltimore, like Tamar, and she's a young girl, new mom. And so, according to Tamar, she was kind of trying to take her under her wing, right? So she invited her to come to her show, and you know how that goes. Not a performance, but if someone invites you to the show and says, yeah, you could come on stage, that's you come on stage, say what's up to the crowd, and keep the thing moving, right? You just saying what up. It's not like a club date where you go and you're there to turn up and recreate a moment for the people like you do on reality TV. That's not what this is, right? Well, according to LaTroy, Chrisean came to the venue drunk with 1,000 people. So, she had her entourage in tow. You know how that goes. You could walk in with me. And smelling like marijuana, right? So there are clips that are floating around of Chrisean on stage bothering one of Tamar's backup singers, not James, but just kind of getting in her face, being a little aggressive for no reason, just what you would expect someone that's under the influence and too lit for the moment would likely do, right? Well, backstage, some sort of argument took place with Wright Chanel, and it was about Chrisean saying she missed her performance time and all of these things, and someone asked her, well, what does she do? And she got highly offended. And, allegedly Wright Chanel was like, well, we didn't know you rapped. We weren't aware. We knew you from reality TV. She got really upset and allegedly struck him in the face and chipped his tooth, bloodied his nose. It wouldn't stop bleeding. And he had to seek medical attention, right? In a since deleted post on Instagram, Davis wrote, I just want to let y'all know that girl, Chrisean, y'all keep hyping up, assaulted James Wright Chanel at Tamar's concert tonight. James is in the hospital. I swear we'll do everything to make sure that she goes, he said prison, but maybe it's jail. I'm not sure. She is trash, and that is why her life is the way that it is. She deserves every bad thing happening to her. And he also, like I said, got on Instagram Live, Chrisean also took to Instagram Live defending herself, saying that she's always being brought up and she knows it goes a certain way, that these are false narratives, that it didn't happen, that she felt that people were clout chasing off of her name. When we come forward, we're going to play Tamar's response. But before we do, listen, I know Chrisean is hyped in the reality world, and I know for a certain segment she's a thing. And in theory, someone might utilize her to try and bring in that audience. But the Tamar Braxton, who, say what you want, ruled reality TV for many years, still is on TV in various ways, and has sold out this tour across the country in various cities, and has a sister named Toni Braxton if she needed to get attention. I don't know, Chrisean. I think that there's some realities you might have to deal with as far as your behavior and your entitlement and where you believe you are as a performer and the realities of that situation. But we'll get into that on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and Sports is up next.
Sometimes love won't remain the same. When it comes to you, I'll have to let it go. But until then, I gotta do what's best for me.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. There is now a $15,000 reward in Texas to help catch the gunman behind a mass shooting at a flea market. It happened over the weekend in the Houston suburb of Pearland. One child was killed. 4 others are recovering from bullet wounds. Police believe it started as a fight between 2 people. As of now, there's no description of either. Officials from the Biden administration joined Black Governor Wes Moore and other state and local leaders at Baltimore's Carver Vocational Technical High School to highlight the city's workforce hub. Back in May, the White House named Baltimore as one of 5 workforce hubs aimed at boosting the skilled workforce. The administration has announced nearly $10 billion in infrastructure projects for Maryland, including the replacement of the 150-year-old Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The Accident Guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Ask any former youth in foster care what they missed most while growing up, and they will most likely answer, someone to show me unconditional love. Now, isn't that something we all wished we could experience? Here in Los Angeles, up to 40% of homeless youth on our streets identify as LGBTQ+. The most prevalent reason for homelessness among this population is the rejection they've experienced from their own families. The LA County Department of Children and Family Services and Raise a Child are searching for safe, nurturing, and affirming foster parents within our community willing to stand up and serve all children and youth in foster care, especially LGBTQ youth. Learn the many benefits to becoming a foster parent. Attend a free Raise a Child virtual or in-person informational event to learn more. RSVP now at raiseachild.org. That's raiseachild.org. And thank you. The City of Los Angeles Civil Rights Department and its LA Repair Participatory Budgeting Program invite nonprofit organizations to submit proposals to turn community ideas into reality. More than $5.4 million is available to make a difference in the Arleta, Pacoima, Westlake, Skid Row, South LA, Leimert Park, and Harbor areas. Don't wait. Proposals are due on November 29th at noon. To apply, visit repair.lacity.gov. LA Repair gives people real power over real money. Visit repair.lacity.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions because we've got your black. Listen up. If you're one of the more than 100,000 California tenants who were rejected or delayed when applying for COVID rental assistance, you've got a second chance. Under the terms of a new settlement, California's Housing and Community Development Department agreed to audit its past denials. The program ended in March 2022, but the advocacy groups, Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, Policy Link and Strategic Actions for a Just Economy sued the department. According to the coalition's analysis of state data, the department rejected nearly 30% of all applicants. Under the settlement, the department agreed to clear all renters in the pipeline within 6 months. The settlement applies to anyone who sought assistance from the state's Housing is Key program before April 1st, 2022, whose applications is pending or was denied after June 6, 2022. Tenants who have questions about the status of their application can call the hotline at 833-430-2122. That's 833-430-2122. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Back at it. Baby, I'ma make a wish, and I want you to make one. Nah, don't tell me yet. We'll talk about that later. DJ
I ain't like the mother, you see that I'm different. I creep on the late night, I stay on the mission. Got all type of different. It wet and dripping, I been like sipping. I eat the poop with precision. 6 rings, Jordan Pippen. I do gymnastics with a brick and flip it. Money to the ceiling, no I ain't tripping. No conversation. These niggas be texting and sending emojis, but no I don't say. He try to hang with the homies, but tell on the gang, boy you was straight. And now your girl coming over, give me that booty, know it's amazing. Loving these, got into trouble with, can't with these. Baby you know who I am, and girl I know just who you are. We ain't got a rush in it, cause being in love is too hard. I'm tired of all these flashing lights, girl, we should just fuck in the dark. Once you let me in it, I'ma get to switch in different positions. Had that wishing that I was yours.
Welcome back in. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, obviously that's Chris Brown. Is that new Chris Brown from 1111? No, it's Oak. See, this is my thing with Chris Brown, right? Obviously, identifiable sound and voice. But you got too much music, bruh. I can't keep track of it. Have you listened to anything? Here's this conversation. Have you listened to anything from his new album?
I didn't even know he dropped a new album.
1111, right?
I didn't. I remember talking about it. I was reminded by Zoe Williams. He played one of his songs earlier today. And I was like, oh, so he did drop an album. Dropped on the 10th.
Okay.
So now I got to tap in and listen.
So I have to have patience and endurance. I don't want to. I think what he said, it's 20 songs instead of the 11 he promised. And I think it's another double album. I think. I was hoping for the tightly, curated 11 song
22
album.
records.
22. That's too many.
And I guess that's the double aspect.
Yeah.
11.
But see, here's the thing. We know why you're doing the double album. It's faster to platinum status. I mean, if they count it, it's something with the accounting that it gets them a boost. I don't know. I just think Chris Brown makes too much music. That's all. That's the moral of the story. And we can't get to the really good parts of it, which I assume that there's, quite a bit, because it's wrapped in all of this other stuff. I saw a post the other day on Twitter from a TV writer. His name is, I think it's Kurt Wright 79. I think that might be it. And he said that Chris Brown's influence on today's modern R&B singer can't be denied. He said the endless songs, the kind of on key but off key esque singing, and that all of the topics and subject matter are empty, and that's what Chris Brown has contributed as of late. I don't know if I agree with that all the way, but I kind of see where he's coming from to a degree. I feel like, after all of the drama happened with Chris and he was kind of out there on his own island, he became very insular, and that was his escape to keep his career going. And now it's just like, can't nobody tell him anything about his product. Andy, you're shaking your head.
I blame hip hop.
You blame hip hop?
I blame hip hop for going into the R&B bag.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? More so than Chris Brown. Chris Brown, in a lot of ways, to me, in my opinion, is somewhat of a throwback. You know what I mean? And when I say a throwback, is that he just actually sings. He's not using the whole auto-tune or anything like that. As far as the subject matter, that's a topic for another discussion or whatnot. But I'm going to have to disagree with that writer. I'm going to blame hip-hop for coming into the game, using auto-tune.
Sliding over.
Absolutely.
So you're actually blaming T-Pain? Ja Rule?
I'm not going to blame Ja Rule at all. Ja Rule didn't use any form of auto-tune. I never looked at him as a singer. I just, he was harmonizing. I'm not going to blame him.
Singing his melodies.
I'm not even going to blame T-Pain. The reason why I'm not going to blame T-Pain is because what he was doing at the time, even though it has been done before, I think was something that was unique. And,
And everybody just jumped on it?
Yeah. I probably would give him maybe a little bit of blame to Lil Wayne and Kanye.
Okay.
But I'm not
Not Drake?
No. Not at all.
Even though Drake sings?
He doesn't use autotune.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we will see how things continue to develop out. Shout out to the Grammy nominations that came out over the weekend a couple of days ago. Shout out to Victoria Monet with those 7 nominations. Shout out to Coco. Why did I just blank on Coco's name? Jones, yeah. For her nominations, there's a couple others. I feel like over the 2000s, we saw the explosion of so many award shows, and we kind of saw the impact of these award shows lessen. And I know I'm getting off topic. I'm going to get back to Chanel and Tamar. But I don't even know, they matter, but I don't know if the Grammys hold as much weight as they used to. I don't know if any award does, actually. What is the coveted thing? I don't know. You don't hear people talking about that or striving for those types of things anymore. Everybody, not that there's anything wrong with it, wants to be a multi-level entrepreneur with their hands in several businesses. I just wonder, do you think those awards even matter?
Well, obviously, the Grammys still matter to a lot of musicians. And quite frankly, as far as black people go, I just think that we should hold the BET Award with more prestige than the Grammy. Because it seems like every year it's always some sort of artist trying to boycott or upset with the Grammys. Bump the Grammy Awards? You should be hyped to win a BET Award. That's just how I see it.
And it's not, and that makes me sad in a way, because we should value our own. Not that the Grammy isn't ours too, but, So at any rate, back on this Tamar, James, and Chrisean story. So James put out an Instagram post. He didn't show his face, right? He's since deleted it. But he did basically confirm that he was assaulted. And what he said was, everybody want to tell stories and tell their version. I was an innocent bystander. You still got to keep joy and stuff. I don't know what's wrong with people. All I did was go to work. Y'all know what type of person I am, but let me tell you what nobody's going to do. Nobody's going to take my joy, my praise, my worship. Y'all should see my face, but I still got joy, right? Chrisean Rock came along and said she was deleting her social channels and all of these things. We're not exactly sure when, because then she followed it up with something else. But we'll see what happened. I know that Troy, said that, Chrisean deleting her social channels, because she also said that she was changing her phone number. He basically was like, you can run, but you can't hide. So we'll see how this all turns out. Meanwhile, Tamar has said her piece on the matter and also, excuse me, had a social media battle with Tommy, another reality star behind this, because Tommy feels that Tamar inviting Chrisean in the first place was a clout chase, and that she knew the type of person she was, and something smells fishy about it. When we come forward, we will hear what Tamar had to say, a little bit about what Tommy had to say, and a little conversation on mentorship. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with me, Angelique Francis, at the beautiful Miracle Theater at 226 South Market Street in Inglewood on Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me with KBLA for short stories told live on stage with us, by us. Yes, our own storytellers straight from the neighborhood. Colorful and provocative live storytelling event celebrating our unique culture, our strength, our courage, our faith, and yes, our fire. We invite you to walk with us through the neighborhood, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. Just around the corner, there is laughter, unspeakable pain, secrets never told. But don't worry. The door is unlocked and we're going to leave the porch light on. That's Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 Market Street in Inglewood, 6 p.m. Yes, it is all happening right here in the Sweet Spot. Tickets available, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. We got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
So I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Tamar, after the internet kept asking, where's Tamar with the statement? What's going on? Why hasn't she said anything? Well, she finally released a statement, and let's hear what she had to say about the incident.
I wasn't going to say anything out of respect for James and his trauma and what happened to him. And when I say what happened to him, he got assaulted at my show. And and it was by Chrisean, but there was a lot of events that I believe were misconstrued. And so while I'm not going to set out the time and clear every little thing up for everyone, I want you to know the reason why I decided to say something. Number one, I care about my team. They're all of my friends, and we put this all together for the fans. I'm not a clout chaser. I don't need that. Like, my circle is this small. You know, I don't have to sell tickets for, like, oh, I need to sell tickets. Let me do this, that, and other. This show has been sold out for a month. I didn't have an opening act. I knew I didn't need an opening act because I knew my sister was coming in the middle of the show. And, when you're in different cities, you invite different people. And Chrisean was definitely someone that I invited, someone that I actually, looked at from afar as like a younger sister. She's from Baltimore. I knew that she was rowdy. I didn't judge her because of that. I felt for her on so many occasions, and I just felt like, this was somebody I wanted to meet, to, possibly take under my wing, because, everybody knows that I don't have the best pass. I'm sorry, I have a filter. I washed my face. I look crazy. Okay. And in my journey of being a better person, I wanted people to, accept me for the new person that I was. And the only way that they could do that is if I was given an opportunity. And so that's really all it was. I didn't call her and be like, oh, come on and perform in my show. I already knew Tony was planning to perform here at this LA show. She had sent me her number a while ago on a DM, and I reached out to her. Like I said before, like we all have, Chrisean is like a little sister to all of us, watching her and then watch her make mistakes. We want to help. And this is what this Love and War tour has been about. I have called several girls that I didn't know Drew Sidora. I didn't know Tiffany.
So listen, I mean, people are giving Tamar a lot of flack. Tommy, who is 11 Hip Hop alumni, and most recently on the Zeus show, Baddies, I'm not sure if it was West or East that she was on, said that would anybody have been talking about Tamar's show if she hadn't invited Chrisean? Well, I recall seeing clips as she's been on tour from different shows. I mean, Tamar not carried, they all play their parts. I'm just saying, Tamar's singers, but Braxton family values. Now, her audience may not be Chrisean's audience, but let's not act like she doesn't have an audience that shows up for her in some capacity. I don't see Chrisean's audience wanting to rush to see a Tamar Braxton show just because Tamar is there. I really believe that her intent was to try and reach out and just, be an ear or a friend. I think it happens a lot more than some may think behind the scenes, and some people open themselves up to it and receive it. Others are not in the space for it. With Chrisean, it's a wild card, and you hope that she will get it together as far as her public behavior, obviously behind the scenes, but her public behavior as well, because she is a young child that is going to be impacted by these choices and decisions. What happens if she has to go to jail for this? I mean, it's just, it's a tragic thing. It's something that shouldn't be happening, obviously. Now, to the read session. So I mentioned Tommy had left a comment and said nobody would have been thinking about Tamar's show. And Tamar kind of addressed some of that in her audio format, right? But Tamar came back and put a message on her Instagram story and said, before someone takes my phone, if you on cocaine and your name starts with a T and you never even sold out a bag of blow pops, stay silent. God bless y'all. Let me and my team heal from this in peace. Well, Tommy said, gotta address me for it to hit, Muppet Baby. That's not nice, right? Well, Tamar is no punk and is not one to shy away from clapbacks. So her response was, so now y'all want me to address out-of-work reality stars. Never. Me and my Muppet employed butt will keep you on the list if I need a non-fighting cokehead for the 2500 episode of one of these shows of mine I'm casting for. We are not the same. Go sell something for your next hit. I'm finna come with my next hit. So Tommy says, I can't even ask a question without people getting in a frenzy. Don't flatter yourself, mama. Be glad I noticed. I don't know. I mean, attention is a drug. Everybody has an opinion. But, we go hard in the paint sometimes for stuff that really doesn't concern us. Tommy, was that necessary? Was it nice? Was it needed? I don't know. We are in a different era. I mean, people talk about clout chasing, but there's a lot of ways to clout chase in 2023. And so listen, I think that mentorship is a wonderful thing, but I also think that people forget sometimes if you are not open to receive the advice, then it's not necessarily a lost cause, but it may not be the cause for you to invest in. On the positive side, the Jasmine brand exclusively reported that Braxton Family Values is going to be making a return. So we know it ran for 7 seasons on WeTV, and it ended in 2020. And the breakup, especially concerning Tamar, wasn't too nice, Tamar Tamar and the rest of her sisters were boycotting over complaints about being underpaid. And, it didn't quite end there. Tamar actually slammed the network a few times over the years, said that they exploited her, blah, 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 some other things. And she said that she wouldn't be a part of them anymore. But, time heals a lot of things, makes things easier. So we'll see. I know a lot of fans would like to see them back on their TV screens and all of that. So, it's been a lot happening on social media these past couple of days. We talked about last week what happened with Keke Palmer and her ex-boyfriend and son's father, Darius. Yeah, now the moms are involved, and it's getting pretty sticky. So in hour 2, we're going to get into the moms striking back, right? Because that goes deep. We're also going to get into Darius's brother, Sarunas. He has his own baby mama drama that is popping up. Listen, sometimes you just got to stay quiet. Like, seriously, sometimes you just got to not involve yourself in the drama, especially when just on the horizon, just on the other side, is some drama on your end waiting to rear its ugly head. Like, you don't need that night now. Nobody wants that. But he said it, and he did. We're going to talk also about Benzino. We know his daughter, Coy Leray. Coy Leray has been, bubbling up on the rap scene. She and her dad don't have the greatest relationship. So we're going to get into some details about that. And Foxy Brown, she took to social media this weekend, as always, to get into Lil' Kim. Because, the beef is still going strong 20 plus years later. So we're going to have a little talk about Foxy and her impact and just a little look at her career and also the beef that she now created over the weekend with someone else just because they appreciate Lil' Kim. All of that and more. Thank you for being locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe. Hour 2 is up next. News and sports is on the other side.
Like an acrobat. Turn on the camera, this movie we making is action packed. Safe sex is great sex, that's a wrap.
Baby, you know who I am, and girl, I know just who you are. We ain't got a rush in it, cause being in love is too hard. I'm tired of all this